once the channel went down, and after the realisation it wasn't going to come back immediately, there was a strange sense of relief. This is going to sound really weird. Right, hello everybody. Yes, we're back, as you obviously saw on Sunday. So I thought what would be really interesting, it's slightly different to our normal Wednesday Bike Club, so I postponed it till next Wednesday. But I thought it'd be interesting to look at what happened, look at the timeline, and tell you what happened, sort of the sequence that it happened in, and how I got through that, how we got it sort of the channel back online. Because I think there's a few important lessons to learn in that, and not just for YouTubers, but obviously just people in general, to try and protect your computers and all your data and all the rest of it. So yes, so the channel was hijacked. The channel was hijacked. So what happened essentially, what the hacker was trying to do was to get hold of my Google account. And for those that don't realise, so your Google account is where you get your YouTube and all the rest of it. It's all quite incestuous, isn't it? But your Google account has your YouTube channel and all this sort of stuff, and emails and everything. So if you can get into your someone can get into your Google account, then in theory they can control everything. So that was the problem that I had. So let's look at the timeline then. So Thursday was when I noticed something was odd. So I checked on my AdSense account. Now, AdSense is where the Google run the all the advertising and stuff on your channel, basically. So what happened, I'd noticed that underneath my little banner, my little picture, that the email address was different. And I thought, well, I knew it wasn't my email, nothing I'd ever used, but it had my name on it. And I suddenly thought that doesn't look right, but it's something I'd never really looked at and noticed before. So that was the thing. And so that was on the Thursday. So I went in and changed my passwords and did those sort of things. And I could still access my YouTube account. There was no issue there at all. And then come Thursday, or was it Friday morning, I think, might have been an end of play. No, sort of later in the day, Thursday, I realised that someone was interfering with my Google account. And as fast as I could correct my passwords, they were altering them again and going in and changing them. And I was getting, because you have this like two-step verification, you can get them to phone you and all the rest of it, to put that code in and stuff. I was getting pings on my phone of these verification codes that I wasn't asking for. So what happened then was that what I realised had happened is that the hacker had put their email, this bogus email with my name on it, as the administrator of the account. And what that meant is that they could then add phone numbers and stuff to the authentication coding and stuff like that. So even though I was getting them, because my phone number was still on there, they were getting them too. So as fast as I could do it, they could change it back. But I wasn't 100% aware that's how it was happening. And all they actually wanted was access to my YouTube account so that they could put a video on there advertising some crap Bitcoin thing, And what that then did, that triggered the algorithm to look at it, say, no, that's a banned advert. That's against our policy, it's bogus, etc. So rather than notify me and say, can you take the advert down, what they did, they suspended the YouTube channel. So they took everything offline, which when you look at it in the round, that was the right thing to do. But obviously I looked at it and thought, holy moly, I've lost my channel. What other damage are they going to do to it? So I had to look at the problem I then had was that the email address, which was now attached to my Google account, I wasn't getting the emails for that. So I didn't know. I got the initial email to say your account has been suspended, because at that point my email was still attached to it. And I was in a little bit blind at that point what was going on with my account. I knew it had been suspended. The email that came from YouTube as such had said, we've suspended your account to save your channel and your reputation. That's very nice. But also, you know, people maybe clicking on those things just to, and being robbed and all the rest of it. So anyway, so they probably only got about, I don't know how long, maybe an hour's worth of crap free advertising off my channel. Which subsequently I realised they'd put one episode up, and it was some sort of live episode, but I didn't get to see it. And I did try to take that down when I still had access to my account. I thought, where is that? But it wasn't in my content folder, so I couldn't do anything with it. And also I wasn't the admin for my account. So what I did at that point, I thought, well, the channel's gone down. I can't do anything. There was an email from YouTube saying, to in effect, was this you? If it wasn't, open an investigation. Now, they'd already said in that email, maybe automated, but they said in the email, we believe your account's been hijacked. Now, their words, hijacked, was very nice. To start an investigation, click here. Now, of course, the problem you have at that point is thinking, oh, is this more scam? Is this a scam email that I'm now getting that allows them access to everything else? Now, I'm very lucky that the laptop, and I actually use two laptops, the laptops that I use for the channel are not linked to anything else of mine. Bank accounts, anything. There's no linkage between the two. So I keep them very separate, and that's deliberate on the basis that I don't want to confuse stuff with anything else. I just go to my laptops and I work on these. So there's no access to any of my funds or any of that sort of thing, you know, my Cayman Islands accounts and stuff. So I had to sort of take a slight leap of faith and click on that and start the investigation, which it was correct. So that started the investigation, got the ball rolling. You have to excuse me because I've got a terrible cough and cold, hence why I'm not on the bike. I've been so ill this weekend. So that had started it, but at that point then I lost any more communication with them because the email account, I wasn't getting anything from my original email. So I then did some research, knowing that nothing in theory else could happen to my account or to my channel. I did some research, and there is a portal on the X, which is the old Facebook, isn't it? The X platform, where you can get in touch with the YouTube sort of hijack team, I think they call it, and that gives you sort of someone. Oh, well, it's not a, you know, you're not a face to face, but it's as close as, so you can talk to somebody, and they do contact you very quickly. So I said to them, you know, my channel's been hacked. What the hell do I do? Now, this is a really important piece of information. If you run a YouTube channel, it's important that you know and record somewhere your URL. Now, that's sort of like the address of the channel. I might be confused in terminology here, but that's if you send someone a link to your channel, the URL will come up, and it's normally got a name and some numbers after it, sort of at and name and numbers. And that's really important because otherwise the people at X, which is quite important to have that communication, can't look up your channel. You remember there's 165 million channels in YouTube. You know, they can't just sit there working out roughly what it's going to be. So I searched all through my WhatsApps and all the rest of it. Did I send anybody? I must have sent somebody a link to my channel at some point. And it was right at the very end that I actually found it to a really close friend of mine, that I actually then sent a link to the channel rather than just a video. And I found the URL. So I then sent that to the X account, the YouTube Hijacked team. And they got back to me and said, yes, it is under investigation. They are looking at it. And they said, follow the processes that they're emailing you to get your channel reinstated. Of course, the problem I had is that I wasn't getting those emails because that was now going to my hacker. Excuse me. I could take a slurp of water. So what I then had to do, which subsequently was sort of the right thing to do, I then added the hacker's email account to my laptop, so I could then read the emails, which I could do. So I then could see the email that YouTube support had sent me to say, right, what you need to do now, we know that your account's been hijacked. There's a bad email and your email. You need to put your email back onto the system as the administrator and as the primary account. So with the assistance of my brother-in-law, who's a computer whiz, I went round and we did that. So I wasn't doing anything that didn't seem right. So we did that. We knocked out that account and we put me back as a primary email. And that meant I could then email the support team and say, right, I've done that. What happens next? And that was actually taken out of my hands. I thought I was going to have to do a lot more than that. So it started on the Thursday. I did the instructional email things that the support team asked me to do on the Saturday. And then by Sunday, it was all back up again and we were up and running. What it did ask me then to do on the Sunday was to check the out of policy stuff that had been put on my account, which was the Bitcoin. It was Russian, by the way, Bitcoin. I didn't have to do anything like that. I didn't have to click the box. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. They did that automatically. They took that down. But the channel was up by that point anyway, so that was really good. So I had my son, who's a computer whiz. We were working on it on the Friday night or Friday late afternoon, trying to do this and play with this, and my brother-in-law, which we did. And that's how it progressed. So other things that did happen. So on the Thursday, I think Thursday or Friday, because I'm losing track of it slightly now, because so much happened in such a short space of time. On the Thursday when the channel went down, I thought, well, I can't even put a post up to say to people, look, my channel's down, I'm working on it, bear with me. So I reached out to another YouTuber that we've contacted each other through comments and stuff like that, so you get a slight rapport. And Richard at the Bankrupt Pensioner. Now do subscribe to him because he really helped me, and it's a great channel, and I watch his stuff. It's motorbike orientated, but there's lots of just life things that are worth watching on. I really enjoy Richard's channel. So I asked Richard through a comment. I couldn't really directly contact him through a comment. I said, look, Richard, my channel's gone down. Could you put a post up just to say my channel's gone down? And that's because a lot of people that would subscribe to him subscribe to me. That was my theory anyway. And it did seem to work. So bless him. He, within minutes really, as far as I can tell, he put a short up to say, look, Tour Rider's channel's gone down. Don't know a great deal about it, but he's working on it and all the rest of it. So bless you, Richard. And this is the thing that's come out of this, is this thing about community. Because not only did Richard helped me enormously, but also, I had messages from Bruce at the Coast Rider, another great channel. I've commented on, pushed his channel before. I've put it up on my channel. Sending me messages of support, and also the subscribers that have already emailed me in the past. Were emailing me saying what's going on and all the rest of it. I hope it all comes back, and it's such a. And all you are. There was lots of people, and and it's fantastic. This amazing community, and that's what made me realise that when you're making a channel like this, it's so important to build that community and engage with your subscribers. They're investing their time in you, and you should invest your time in them. And I know there's this thing about getting around to seeing some of these people. Which I will do as time goes on, but it's just great, and it's so appreciated, and it was really humbling. Okay, so don't think they didn't go unnoticed, and it was really, really special. So yes, the channel came back up. I mean, Milo was beside himself, absolutely beside himself that people couldn't see him. He really couldn't, as you can see here.
No, I don't care. Now you see me, now you don't. Now you see me. I'm some crazy cat, yeah. Just get on with it, yeah.
What were the lessons learned from the hacking itself? Well, I think the important thing is to make sure that you change your passwords regularly. Make sure you've got the two authentication process in place. I'm not the first and I'm not the last person. The algorithm is set up to recognise this very quickly. They're not like it's not as if someone owes you money. YouTube only exists because people create stuff to put on their channel. So it's really important to them that they, as far as I can tell, that they're really open with you and they work really quickly to get this done. Because there are other platforms coming up, and I get contacted quite a lot by other platforms, and bring your stuff to us, which I'm not interested in. I'm sticking with YouTube because I like the platform and it's what I want to do. So make sure your security is up to date. Another thing which is worth noting, cough, particularly for YouTubers, but for anybody really, if you get sent something that someone's asking you to do a collaboration with, if it's asking you to click on a link, don't do it. Don't go anywhere near it. That's what I would say. Do some research first, and if you can find them online and stuff like that, but even then still be incredibly cautious and have some malware software in your computer to make sure you're not downloading anything which is now reading into your laptop. And this is why I also, having the two laptops was really important. I bought the second laptop, which sort of mirrored the first one, when I went to North Africa, and I left one in France, the sort of like backup laptop, which has got all the same stuff on it, because if I trash my one on the ride, I could still come back, because I was going to spend quite a few weeks still in France, that I could still be working. So, because I was concerned that the other laptop was dirty, that it was infected. So I stopped using that one and started going on to this one. So hopefully I don't get that problem again. I will get that laptop cleaned down and completely wiped and probably start with it again. But I'll use that as a backup now. So yeah, watch those. You get a lot of these companies messaging you, offering you this, that, and the other, and don't click on any links. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. They can tell you what they're offering you there and then. You don't have to click on links to let them put stuff into your computer and all the rest of it. So that's what I took away from that. One other thing though, and this is more on a personal level, and people might find this interesting, maybe other YouTubers would find this interesting, is that once the channel went down, and after the realisation it wasn't going to come back immediately, there was a strange sense of relief. This is going to sound really weird. And that was really from the fact that it was like, I don't have to make any content. Wow, that's good. I can take a break. Even though it was only a few days, there was this thing about, and you don't realise how much pressure you put on yourself when you're doing it. And it's a first world problem, so don't have no sympathy. You bring this stuff on yourself. But when you're trying to do this, maybe doing two episodes a week, the way I've gone down, when you're also doing a job, it's quite difficult. I'm very lucky, in the work that I do, but it's very difficult particularly if it's your sole, if it is your income or a major part of your income, that there's a pressure that sits on you. You don't realise, I think, to keep producing stuff, and it keeps whirring in your brain. Now, to me, it activates my brain, and it keeps my brain active, and I think it's good for me. But there was a strange sort of, I haven't got to think about it this time. I don't have to worry about it because I haven't got to worry about it and go and get any content. So that was quite strange, and I wasn't sure whether that was, sod it. I put all that work in for 2 years. It's all gone. So be it. Or whether it's just my age that was making me do that. I don't know. So it was an interesting feeling. But once the channel came back up, I was sort of back into content mode again. And I think for all YouTubers, particularly when I see some YouTubers who are just coming into it and they're working incredibly hard, and sometimes the rewards can be very small, and I think that can get resentful. I'm not in that position, but I can see that. I think I could see that if you're throwing up content all the time and you think you're going to generate loads of money, I think you're going to be sadly, upset that that's not really what happens. And I think the way that YouTube pays you now is a lot less than it was. I think the money to be made from advertising is nowhere near what it was, depending on the channel that you have. So, yes, that's where we are. So, yes, the main message is, yes, your channel can get hijacked in different ways. I think the Rest Day Rider, and it's going to bring us to another point in a minute, the Rest Day Rider had her channel hacked, and someone sort of created a linked channel to her stuff, and these things happen. It's so frustrating, and people get channels nicked all the time where they're taking all the stuff off your channel and all the rest of it. But I think the YouTube systems are so well organised and up to date these days that they see it and they're seeing the same thing and again and again and again. So I think the key thing is don't panic. Don't panic. Go through the process. Check what emails are getting the emails from the YouTube support team and that sort of stuff. And if you get stuck on there, go to X and look for the YouTube team there, because they have a much quicker response time, I think. But having said that, I put the thing out to investigate. I think it must have been Thursday, and by Friday they had got back in touch with me. It says 72 hours, could be 72 hours. But within 24 hours, they were back onto me and did that. So I probably could have got the channel back quicker if I'd have seen that email and think, rather than I had to wait and think, hang on a minute, is that email going to the wrong address? And do it that way. So, yes, nightmare. But we got back. So thanks for all the support, particularly Richard and people like Bruce and all the rest of it, and all those lovely subscribers who got in touch, John Fitchie and all of you that messaged me. So thank you very much for that. A couple of things. So I didn't get a chance to thank subscribers for the votes that I got in the all year round motorcyclist channel of the year thing that he does. So we got 14th, which was a joint 14th with Rest Day Rider and the Michelin Flyer and Moto Bob, which is fantastic. So I'd never appeared on that before. So I think when I looked at these, someone said to me, "Oh, you need to look, you got to have a look." So I went on the channel, and on the intro bit of video, I saw my banner up there. I thought, oh, I'm there somewhere. I did get excited. I thought I may have won it. But great, great to get a mention on there, and that people have voted for me. So that was fantastic. So really lovely. So yeah, that was superb. The other thing I will say, just on a slight aside, I did think, now that's happened, should I reinvent the channel, and maybe it's time for a big reinvent? And I thought maybe I should go down the Ziggy Stardust route, some face paint and all that sort of stuff, or the Madonna sort of thing. And I thought, nah, that's not going to work. Milo's running past the two-wheeled rider towers. But I thought, no, we're on a route. We changed things up. We put the Wednesday Bike Club in, which is being really, really successful and popular. People like that. And we'll still be doing the reviews and stuff like that on a Saturday, or different stuff which isn't purely discussion based. I've done a deal with a big motorbike supplier, and hopefully, if the weather's okay this week, I should be getting out on a bike. And I'll talk about that once we're out. So yes, we're on a course, and also I'm going on a little tour. I'm doing a mini tour, so that'll be I'll be on that next week. But the episode should come out fairly quickly after that. So yes, I'm going on an island, but I'll let you work that one out later. So I'm only going for 4 days, but it should be nice. I'm going to do a bit of writing and stuff like that, but do a bit of touring around. I'm hoping to meet a subscriber there as well who got in touch with me. So, and if that comes off, that should be an interesting episode. So watch out for that. So there will be the sort of Wednesday thing, I think, but I'll work out how I'm going to put all those together, because I like to keep the tour so it goes all in one go, really. So I'm there for 4 days, so I should probably have 3 or 4 days 3 or 4 episodes out of that. So we'll see how that goes. Right, that's it really. I'm going to go back indoors and just collapse now with some paracetamol because I'm absolutely flagging. But thanks again for all the support, and we're back on it. But watch your social media and watch how you protect your channels and all the rest of it, because it's not much fun and you have very little control over it. But don't panic. If it happens to you, don't panic. There are ways around it, and there are teams out there that are working on this continually, and I thought YouTube were really quick. They saved all my episodes. I didn't lose anything, no data. It was all sitting there, and suddenly, without me realising, bang, it was back up again. Right, look after yourselves, everybody. It's going to start raining again, so never mind. And I'll see you next time. Take care and ride safe. Look after yourself. Thanks, everybody.